In 2001, a professor at England's Oxford University formalized the question as to whether or not we are living in an ancient computerized simulation. And he did it through a paper that he published, and the paper was actually entitled, "Are You Living in a Computer Simulation?" The paper itself is complex, and it identifies three possibilities, three possible scenarios that may be unfolding in our lives right now and in our future, and using a process of a very complex algorithm with many variables that represent the real world as we know it today, he concluded that at least one of these scenarios is actually happening right now. Let's take a look at this process, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time developing this idea because the rest of this series is based upon what we're doing right now. So it's important that we understand precisely what this algorithm is telling us, what the calculations are telling us, and what the conclusions for this study are really showing us about our world today. But before we get to the paper itself, there's a term that I need to define. The term is posthuman, a post-human civilization. It's a term that Bostrom uses throughout his paper, throughout the algorithm, and we're going to refer to this term throughout the rest of this series, so it's important that we get it right now. Bostrom defines posthuman as an advanced civilization like ours that has transcended the great challenges that we face in our world today. Not only survived, but they have transcended. They've learned a way of living and a way of being where the challenges such as climate change, such as nuclear war, such as pandemic disease, are no longer a threat to their society. So clearly we have not yet reached this post-human stage. And this is what's important in the algorithms in the paper that we're going to develop. Because one of the possibilities is that we do in fact reach this post-human stage. So let's take a look at the three possible scenarios. And then let's run through the algorithm itself that explores and gives weight and value to each one and see which one of these scenarios is most likely true for us today. The first possibility that Bostrom defines is that advanced civilizations become extinct before they reach the post-human stage. In other words, they succumb to the crises of their time. Maybe they don't survive the climate change. Maybe something happens and there's a pandemic disease that wipes out all life on the face of the earth. Maybe there's a solar flare. Maybe an asteroid hits the earth. Maybe there's a great war. Many of these ideas are precisely the things that are being played out in the films and the movies that are most popular today. And I think it's interesting that Bostrom has defined this possibility as the first one in the algorithm that he is developing. So this first scenario is that advanced civilizations simply go extinct before they solve the problems of their time. The second possibility fascinates me because it suggests that advanced civilizations do reach the post-human stage. They do reach the point where they have transcended all of the great challenges that face us in the world today. However, they become a non-technologically based society. In other words, they go back to living closer to the earth. They become more of an agrarian society where life is based around growing food, small populations, localized living. So localized economies, localized sources of energy, local communities. And this certainly is a possibility for the future. We may find eventually that localized living serves us better in a changing world than large-scale, centralized types of civilizations that seem to have developed in the past and that we are actually living in right now. So this second possibility that I find so fascinating is that we do survive, but we choose a very, very different way of living. The third possibility is that advanced civilization do reach the post-human stage. However, they continue to develop along a technological path. So in other words, advanced civilizations learn to reconcile their relationship to the earth. They learn to find balance and harmony with nature. They learn to find balance and harmony with other humans. In this civilization, war becomes obsolete. The advanced civilizations learn that no one wins in a war. The idea of a war is that there are winners and losers. The kinds of wars that become possible through advanced technology, everyone loses. So in this third scenario, advanced civilizations reach the post-human stage, transcend the great challenges that we face in our world today, and they continue to develop as a technological society. This means they continue to build computers with even more advanced capabilities based upon principles that we're only beginning to understand today. Quantum computing, for example, where memory of the computer and the capacity is actually stored beyond the machine itself. The memory is not confined to the circuits or a chip. It is stored in a field of energy that is larger than the machine itself. So what Bostrom is saying in the paper is that these are the three scenarios that are possible. One of these three must be true. And now he's going to use a very sophisticated algorithm, and I'm going to share this with you, that will help him to know which of those three is most likely for us right now in our lives today.